You should be getting a note on your computer in just a second. Angela, you could step over here. Come this way, and head this way.
This technology.
Okay.
Give me paper. These are minutes from the April 13th, 2023 meeting. Minutes were read. Treasurer's report was given by Ruth Darrow, who told us that at the end of February, we had $900 in the kitty. And then as of that day, 4/13, there was $910.27. Vince spoke about the importance of being a senior Democrat and talked about wanting us as individual members to be involved, to come to as many meetings as possible in the community, to throw our hats in the ring for elections. Was talking about the June 8th election that's coming up. Talked about the May 11th membership meeting. Ruth Darrow, who's the chair of nominations, will announce the slate of candidates that were vetted by the committee to run. And each candidate will have the opportunity to meet and introduce themselves to membership to be this evening. Vince unfortunately announced that he will be, good for him, bad for us, but that he is running for the position of state chair of North Carolina Senior Dems. So yay, Vince. Mally led us in as a group and wishing everyone happy birthday, good April birthdays. Vince reminded us of the monthly Senior Dems newsletter, which he so graciously works on diligently every month. Mentioned that Leonard Jarvis was last month's individual featured member, and that there are also lots of referral sources available you can look at online for referrals that might help you or your family member, loved one. The guest speaker was Keshia Green. She represented Silver Linings, which is, as she's a community health worker. She spoke about the importance of mental health awareness. Her agency provides a fee-for-service set of services. They do individual work. It's a client-focused method of treatment, and they provide that in-home, online, and in the community. There are 2 providers who serve Cabarrus County. It is fee-for-service. They accept some insurances. They do not accept Medicaid. And there was a phone number given. In case someone needs it and wasn't here last week. It's 919-757-6498. And all the clinicians are either certified or licensed. Most of them are LCSWs. I'm sorry, that's a licensed clinical social worker. It's what Dorsey and I both are or were in our former lives. 50 years. Martin Ericson talked about also encouraging us all to attend county meetings and to run for public office. Pam Escobar, who was one of our members on the Cabarrus County School Board, spoke about bills that were turning through legislature. Really important one dear to my heart is House Bill 219, which would give a large amount of money to charter schools at the expense of public schools. You may have been reading some of the articles that have come out recently in the Charlotte paper, and the vast amounts, many millions of dollars going to schools who deny our tax dollars, but they're able to use their private school filter still, and they're held to they're not held to the same standards that a public school is as far as the requirements of the teachers or what they do or the testing. So it is, well, I'm not supposed to be talking about that, but anyway. She encouraged our members to run, the intent to run for Cabarrus County City Government, especially the current open Cabarrus County City Council seats. Vince recommended a book, The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich. Meeting was adjourned, and there is a list of attendees attached if anyone needs to see that. Any questions, additions, deletions?
Motion to accept. Michael, second. Everyone in favor of accepting the minutes, say aye.
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 People on Zoom, thanks, Andrew. Thank you. A really a nice thank you to Angela, who's done this twice now and stepped into the breach. So appreciate it. So the next thing on our agenda typically is the treasurer's report. So Ruth Darrow, who's at the end of the room, is going to come up to the front of the room and tell us some good news. We just submitted a check to the state for some additional members who came on board last time around. So she'll let you share some of that. Thank you, Ruth.
Steal her thunder.
He knows all the detail. I'm the summary. Okay, let's see. We had a profitable month. We started with $910.27. We received $267 in memberships and snacks and stuff. And we spent $32 on postage and snacks. So we now have $1,144.70 in the bank. And the check that you wrote to the state had included it. All right, that's it.
Minute to motion to accept the treasurer's report. So moved and seconded by Mike. Okay. Are you getting all this, Vanessa? All in favor of accepting the minute of the treasurer's report, say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Nobody out in Zoom land? Okay. So the next order of business is our report from the first vice chair. Ingrid has done a phenomenal job on taking this group from 20 members to over 62 right now. So Ingrid, if you would come up and share with us what your next plans are, your next goals, and how we can collectively help you achieve those goals. Thank you, Ingrid Nurse.
All right. Great day, everybody. How you doing over there? Out there? Okay. How we achieve our goal is each one. I brought 12 in. Was it this month, last month, couple months? So I'm thinking like 12 months. That's what I'm thinking about whenever I approach people. I said, I'm throwing a fish pole out there. I gotta get your 12, I gotta get your 12, I gotta get your 12. So that's how each one, and we'll have a full house before 2024. We got work to do. All righty.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, quite a few seniors out there in Cabarrus County who are Democrats or soon to be Democrats. They just don't know it yet. There's a way of tracking them down. The next order of business is our second vice president, who's going to give us a little bit of detail on what she's doing as she's wearing another hat, and she's wearing a hat at the county party of third vice chair. I don't know, because we, So Wendy Wood will share with us a little bit about the happenings, and then we're fortunate tonight to have Mackenzie Reedybacon with us, so she's going to give us another overview. So come on up. Right.
Yes, don't get me confused. That's my natural state anyway, but so I've gotten through the gauntlet of the precinct organizing month of February, the county convention that I didn't, we'll straighten this out in a minute. Was also planned by the first vice chair. Congratulations, Michael, on that. So we got through that. Organized precincts now. We got 72 new members 16 new chairs. Total members of our precincts across the 262 precinct members, about 190 up to 200 of those are really active. Some of the rest of them, they do different things, but they're less active than some of the other ones. We had like 82 people attend the county convention. They elected our new chair, almost the youngest chair in the state. She will go into the details about that. Elected, I'm not, are you gonna go? I'm not gonna do the officers if you're gonna cover that. Are you gonna cover? If you want. So our new chair, Mackenzie Reedybacon, who's going to talk to you in a few minutes. Michael Gainey over here, Michael, our new first vice chair. And I'll explain a little bit about that. The rules and the NCDP, North Carolina Democratic Party plan of organization say that the chair of the party and the first vice chair have to be different gender. So we did that. But I'm going to still be doing the first vice chair duties, except for a few that Michael's going to do. And so we just swapped duties. The chair tells us what to do anyway. So she said, Wendy, do this, Michael, do that, and everybody's good. So that's problem solved. Then Patrice Mack, I'm not sure if, for God's sake, will somebody, no, never mind, I got it. I've got it on my watch, but I know who it is. It's my friend, potential spam. I get money. Patrice Mack is our third vice chair. And our wonderful breakfast captain, Cheryl Brevard, has stayed on as secretary. And treasurer, it's no longer an elected position for the county or a treasurer because Monica says no more, no mas. But she is staying with us until we get a new treasurer. We thank her for that. Next up are the congressional district conventions. Let's see, we have a county executive committee meeting scheduled. I think Mackenzie will talk more about that. And then the 20th of this month, we have congressional district conventions on May 20th on Zoom. We have 153 delegates for the 12th congressional district convention, 29 delegates for the 8th congressional district convention. And what's next on my calendar is a lot of training to get scheduled for all those new precinct people. So.
Congressional district,
May 20th.
May 20th.
All of them are on Zoom. Although there's a little hang up with the 12th district because they had a death in their officers and they're lagging behind, understandably.
So thank you for that. And Michael, thank you for stepping up at the county level. Mackenzie, if you could come up here to the podium and share with us, first of all, congratulations on being the next youngest chair of the party.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. My name is Mackenzie Reedybacon. I'm the new chair of the Cabarrus County Democratic Party. I'm excited to see y'all here. Really quickly, Wendy mentioned the CEC meeting that's coming up. That will be on Saturday, the 27th at 10 a.m. 2 weeks. We just need to go over appointments for the Board of Elections so that we can formally submit those nominations to the state party. Next, we do have our breakfast meeting coming up, which was set for Saturday at 10 a.m. However, there was a call to action from the governor. So we're pivoting a little bit. Some folks are going to stay at headquarters for breakfast, and there's going to be some rallying, some actions we can do surrounding the egregious abortion ban S20 that the governor will be vetoing on Saturday. Some of us will be going to Raleigh to be with the governor as he vetoes that bill, and we rally and register voters. There's going to be a press conference with some of the newly elected chairs as well. So we can just show a strong united front talk about how we're going to get organized and continue forward to this. So if y'all are interested in going with our little Democratic coalition from Cabarrus County, let me know. I'll hang back and get everyone's contact information if you haven't gotten an email or any links so that we can link you up and tell you what to do. That's it from me. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I'm anticipating segues here. So the next segue would be for the Board of Elections. And in our room, we have the esteemed, the pleasure of having Martin Ericson, who is the current board chair for Cabarrus County, who I hope will consider running again, or whoever needs to nominate him will nominate Martin. So Martin, if you could give us a quick update. I know there's been some changes at the top in Raleigh, and it kind of sort of affects us here. So warm welcome, please, everyone, for Martin Ericson.
Yeah, I'm appointed, so I'm not elected, so I'm not honorable anything. Okay, just as far as the structure and the way the state works, we have a 5-member state board of elections, and each county has 5 members of the county board. The parties suggest to the governor who should be on these various boards, and the governor appoints. So we had 5 that carried through for many years. 3 of them were, and I have no background on this, 3 of them were not suggested back by the party. I don't have any background on that. We have 5 of them. They're all 5 lawyers. They're not all necessarily practicing. But Jeff Carmen, who's been on there for quite a bit of time, was nominated by the Democrats and appointed by the governor. Stacy Eggers IV, known affectionately as 4. He's from a law firm up in Boone. Last time I knew it was Eggers, and Eggers. He was nominated by the Republican Party. He's very much by the book, but he seems to be pretty reasonable, and he's a holdover also. So he was also appointed by the governor. 3 new members were put up front. Alan Hirsch of Chapel Hill. He's a lawyer, but it doesn't appear he's practicing. He's working for some biological testing company called BioOrg. He was nominated by the Democrats and was appointed by the governor. Kevin Lewis of Rocky Mount is also a practicing lawyer. He was suggested by the Republicans, and he was not appointed by the governor. And Siobhan Millen of Raleigh has practiced law in the past. She may still, but her little mini bio says that she worked at her local precinct for the last 15 years. So we have an election official, sounds like, on the board. Those last 2, Kevin Lewis from the Republicans, Siobhan Millen from the Democrats, they met this past week and elected Alan Hirsch as the chair and Jeff Carmen as the secretary. The most encouraging thing is that we have had a very good executive director of elections here in the state by the name of Karen Brinson Bell. And they went into closed session, discussed it for a while, came out, and they reappointed her for another 2-year term unanimously. I can't remember the last 2 years she was appointed unanimously. I remember at least one time in the past, it was a 3-2 vote. So I found that very encouraging. She's done a great job, and I think there's recognition of that. So all of these people, I mean, they were just sworn in this week. Karen Brinson Bell starts May 15th for another 2-year term. My term is up sometime in July. And the way it works is the county executive committee will vote and suggest 3 people to the state party. And normally, in rank order, normally the state party passes those through. And for a chair, it's slightly different nominating path. So the county executive committee, if I have this correctly, are going to have to come up with a nominee for chair and 3 nominees for our 2 positions on the board. And we'll go through the party and then go to the governor. well, excuse me, the chair goes to the governor, the members go to the state board, and they normally pick the top two, unless you are known to them in a bad way. And sometimes they'll knock somebody off, but yes, I know I'm clear with them, so. And again, just keep track of things. Got a big election coming up. Everybody says it's an off-year election. It's only municipals. It is a big, big election because the local offices impact you more than almost anything else. And so few people show up, your vote will be very powerful. So we will have one election coming up in November, and filing for that, I've sent out the information on that. Filing for that is in July. And if you need information on what positions are open in which towns, just let me know. I went through that last time, and I think I'll send out another mailing. Okay, any questions? Totally unrelated. Okay. This is me as opposed to being on the Board of Elections. I am sending out some legislative updates of bills that I think are of interest to us. If you're at all interested in getting that and you haven't received it already, either directly or through some people forwarding them, just let me know and I'll put you on the email list. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, Mark, for all you do. Yeah. Yeah, that has been extremely helpful, Martin. That I'm on that email distribution list. I encourage all of you all to be a part as well. So we don't have any elected official back in. We'll certainly want to give her a platform to address the group. The Senior Democrats, for those time, to Trotman's on Church Street, and even before that to Trotman's out on 29. The group has come and gone size-wise from as low as I think 15 people, now up to 61 or almost 55. It's really amazing. It used to be kind of sort of like a dinner club, right? Let's go out and have a dinner at Troutman's, and it's become a lot more of a political action group, and also a lot more of a group that is trying to address issues that face seniors. So one of the ways we accomplish that is we have a committee, a program and events committee. Dorsey's on that right now. He knows that he was on that, actually chair of that committee not too long ago. We're looking for speakers in this election cycle, not only who are running for office at the local level, but also looking for speakers who will come in, as Terkesa did last month, and speak to us specifically about issues that impact seniors. We have an audiologist who wants to come and address our group. I met her at the county fair, and in pretty short order, she realized I couldn't hear what she was saying. She said, "You really, you need a hearing aid." And I said, "What did you say?" So she's willing to come and talk to our group, and even set up a clinic at the end of the meeting and help us out. So, and here Keshia is going to be joining us again. You must have heard. She heard me through osmosis. Welcome back, Keshia. I hope you can you, Keshia, are you able, do you have enough audio bandwidth that you could share a little bit about what you're doing and what's happening in the school board? And if not, right at the moment, sometime during the call. Okay. So we'll go back from that. So there are mainly three committees that we have to think about. One is the Program and Events Committee. So we will be looking for volunteers tonight and in the next month to serve on the committee, to chair the committee, find out, who are going to be our speakers as we go forward. That is not a person, that's not a one-person job. The president can't just say, "Oh, I think we'll have so-and-so." That doesn't work that way. And I really hats off to Wendy, who was the second vice chair, who got that committee going in the home of Leroy and Sarah Diepler. I remember coming to that meeting and Dorsey was there and pretty much mapped out the whole year. So it's kind of on autopilot for right now, but we need to think about next year. The next committee is the bylaws committee. All of you who, if you haven't already gotten a copy of the bylaws, you should take a look at it. It was put together a couple of cycles ago and really needs some updating. Just basic stuff that needs to be addressed, like what constitutes a quorum. You would think that would be somewhere in the bylaws. It's not. So, you know, quorum could be whatever we say it is. That's kind of goofy, right? So we need to address that. But when we only had 10 or 15 members, I mean, we always had quorum. So that's just one data point. We need to figure out, you know, as a committee, and it'd be nice to have an attorney on that committee or someone who knows law a little bit better than the average citizen. Which brings us to the next venue, the next committee. And it's not so much a committee as a review cycle. By the bylaws of the state, we are required to have an audit every 2 years of our books, particularly our financial books. And I checked with the state president to say, you know, an audit, and this was after I had a conversation with someone in this room, an audit's a pretty pricey thing to do. That could be like thousands of dollars, and we don't have thousands of dollars. And she said, well, audit is the suggested language in what we are saying at the state level. So we would need to identify 3 people, hopefully, who would be looking at our records, books in particular, and before we leave office in June, conducting a review. And I could put some, she's not here, so I'll put her on the spot. Sophia Wilkerson, who was our treasurer, 3 or 4 people. Please, 88% charge, Dave. That's what that ring is all about. So this is an opportunity to pass the baton on to the next generation of leadership. When I first started here, it was because Harry Turner tapped me on the shoulder and he said, boy, you should be president. And I said, really? What are you talking about here? That was weird. And Bob Shupin was the president at the time. And a lot of the people who were here only a few short years ago are no longer with us. So it's the next generation. One of the stated goals I had, and I said yes to Harry, I said, well, you know, I would like us to be affiliated with the state because we're really not an organization until we are officially recognized by the state. So Em and Haw pulled that together, got the bylaws, set up a post office box, did all the stuff you're supposed to do to actually look like a functioning political organization. So we're there and we have the membership now to prove it. But one of the stated goals I had was a succession plan to set it up so that there would be someone who could take this 76-year-old man's place, which I'm almost at. I'll be 76 this month, by the way. We're going to have a birthday celebration in a minute. But to pass the baton off and on to a new generation of leadership, I would like to stay on if you guys vote for me. We're not voting tonight. We're going to vote next month in June. And again, as I looked at our bylaws, I just realized that in our current bylaws, there is no time limit as to when you can pay your dues. On the state, you have to pay your dues 30 days before the actual election. So if you're going to vote, you have to have paid your dues by May 24th to be able to vote at that state election, right? Sidebar, I've been nominated to run for president of the North Carolina State Democrats. It gets funny. My said, I thought you were gonna cut back. Kind of like Dorsey Ward keeps saying you're gonna cut back, right, Dorsey? Ingrid, as you're approaching people, if they're gonna vote for the state election, they have to have their dues in by May 20. I thought that was going to be 30 days ahead, which would have been May 8th, and that's not the case. They can pay up until the day before the election. So if there's someone else out there that wants to run for office and certainly to vote for any of the people who have been put forth, that would be their time to do that. So I'm going to turn the floor over now to Ruth Darrow, who graciously accepted the job of chairing the nominations committee. And her committee, along with she, put together a slate of candidates. Come on up with, so you can let people know what you're doing, and then in whatever order you want to.
Thank you. Okay, this is an exciting time because it's really important for an organization to transfer power to new people on a regular basis, because it's very dangerous if you get one or two people in key positions and nobody else steps up. You get the wrong people in those two positions and you got trouble. So I am so happy for this organization to see it grow and to see new people stepping forward, and for Vince to be willing to transfer power peacefully. It's just such a nice thing.
We'll see.
Also, I would like to thank the people who helped me pull this together, and that was Wendy Wood and Sophia Wilkerson, Marcia McClellan, and Marcia says hi, and the reason she's not able to be here is she was elected chair of her HOA board. And she is running crazy with that. But I said, you know, when you finish that, you've got to come back. And finally, Dorsey Ward, he was helpful, even though we had a couple of times he wasn't able to make the meetings. He's always a solid person to have in your corner. So I appreciate everybody who stepped forward to help me. And I also appreciate everybody who was willing to step forward for new leadership. It's comforting to know that we have people willing to protect democracy at every level. And we need a active organization at the senior level to put pressure on our local politicians to protect our democracy. And so this is important. And even though it's also social and it's fun getting to meet and talk to everybody, we really need to keep our foot on the pedal to protect democracy right now. We're in a very critical time. And like Eric said, it's crucial. This election and the next election cycle, we have got to beat back the corruption that is trying to take over our government, both locally and nationally. So thank you for anything that you can do and anything you have done. We really appreciate it. So as I call out the names of the new slate of leaders, I'd like you to come up and stand.
Actually, where you're standing right now.
Stand and just come up and then stand here, because the order in which I call your name is the order in which you'll speak to the group. And so we'll save some time. All right, so the first position we have is president, and Jay Boyar has stepped forward. Thank you, Jay. The second position is first vice president. Ingrid has stepped forward to again take on that job. So thank you, Ingrid. Come on forward. Second vice chair, Joe Roziewski. Thank you, Joe. We appreciate you stepping forward. Third vice president, and the only reason he's going to relinquish power is because he's going to run for third vice president. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But it's Vincent. Secretary Vanessa Jones, we appreciate you. Come on up. And Maureen Vezza is going to take my job, but I'm going to help her until she's comfortable. So we're all good. And once everybody gets up here, Jay, you'll be first, and then, at the end, it'll be Vincent. We'll come back.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for your time. I got involved in the politics end of it because of the lady sitting there, my wife. She kind of shanghaied me during the Obama era, if you will, when we moved down here. When I came down here, she got me involved. I became precinct chair for 01-10. Also during that time, when Biden was coming up the first time around, the first vice chair of the county, who was working with Bobby Hague, had a personal emergency. He just quit and left. I don't know what the reason for that was, but there was a hole. So I stepped up to that hole, and I wasn't voted in as first vice chair because of the bylaws say that you have to have a vote. They didn't have time to get everybody together for a vote. So I ended up helping her from that standpoint. Once that was over, I stepped back, and now I'm acting as a chair for 01-10 again. So that's kind of my background. As far as background outside of politics, I spent 40 years in EMS, including training officer, and 30 years, don't hold it against me, in the insurance world. I didn't do health. And that's all I got. Thank you. And pass on to this lovely lady.
All right, great day, everybody. I've been working with the Democrat Party and parties. I'm telling you, we're all over the place since age 16. Betty Edelman, since far back from Barbara Scotia Upward Bound days. So letting everybody know that I stand before you as membership chair. So I wish your vote. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Joe Roziewski, and Vince did a very nice bio on me in the newsletter, so I won't go into any of that, but just let you know that I'm new to North Carolina and new to political activism. And after moving here, I got warmly welcomed into the family here by Wendy Wood, and am now the precinct chair for 0203, and working with a volunteer in her precinct 1212 to build that up. And once again, warmly welcome into the Senior Dems by Vince and Wendy and Dorsey. So I'm glad to be part of this group, and glad there is a program committee that can support me in this position, and look forward to working with y'all in the next coming years.
Thank you, Joe. I'm Vincent. I'm Maureen's other half. I've been privileged to be your president for the last couple of cycles. I am running for third vice chair because I'm kind of sort of doing communications, so setting up the equipment for a meeting is part of that job, putting out a newsletter, and thank you for mentioning Joe, we every month, that's one of the ways we get to learn a little bit more about each other, is to have that once featured story. And in fact, this next coming month, featured speaker, I haven't told her that yet, but to get to know each other a little bit better in our backgrounds, rather than going here and giving a dissertation about, we went to school and all the rest of that. I still am precinct chair in 08, Mount Pleasant, over there in the eastern part of the county. And like I said earlier today, I'm running for state president. So I am feeling hopefully that you guys will elect me here and give the state a little bit of insight as to what they ought to be thinking about as they try to expand around the state. So thanks, everyone. I turn the stage over to Vanessa.
Thank you. I'm Vanessa Jones. I'm new to Cabarrus County, only about 6 years that I've lived here, but I lived in Mecklenburg County for over 20. I'm from Virginia. I went to undergrad at Duke University and left Duke and went to Creighton Law School. So I'm a lawyer. I'm retired at this point, though. I've served 15 or plus years at Social Security Administration writing disability decisions for judges, and that's the job I retired from. So yes, I was ready to retire from that, but I'm ready to get busy here. And now that I've retired, I really do want to get busy. I was so grateful for the opportunity to step forward and do something. And this is just the beginning, because I frankly believe that we really are in a serious position. We have to move forward. We've got to let it be known what we stand for. And people need to know that we don't, well, we have their best interests at heart at every instant. I'm so grateful to you. And I would love to serve as secretary. I can do my best. My only drawback, I think, is that I don't know everyone. And Suzanne was very helpful in pointing out who was who for me tonight. So I'm hopeful that I can remember it. So I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Maureen Vezza, and I'll share the same information with you that I shared with Ruth in the nominating committee. I have been a grade 3 classroom teacher. I was a computer technician for grades K through 8, and I was also a high school math teacher. But on a personal level, I've been married to Vincent for 53 years, and I think the most challenging time in my life was when I had a 16-month-old baby, and I gave birth to surprise identical twins. And I was just a little bit overwhelmed and wondering how I was going to manage. And the teachers in the school where I had been a teacher said, "Oh, well, you'll be just fine. You have a lot of patience and you're very organized." And over the years, that's how some people have described me for some reason. So I'd like to apply my patience and organizational skills to being treasurer for the group. I'd be glad to do that. And do I have one more minute?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, this is aside from being treasurer. Last month when we were here, my husband said he was running for North Carolina president of the, what is it again? North Carolina Senior Democrats president. And he said, the only one who isn't smiling is my wife. So I wanted to clarify that I do support him. But a few months ago, we were just having a conversation and I said, don't you think it's about time you started to scale back on all your extracurricular activities? And he said, oh yeah, I am. I'm only going to be president here for a few more months and then I'll be passing it on to someone else. So I went, oh, okay. And then he said, oh, but now I'm going to run for president of North Carolina Senior Democrats. So it did take me a little time, to get used to the idea, but I'm on board now. So I wouldn't want someone not voting for him because of the comment he made last time. Thank you.
Ain't marriage a joy? It is a joy. It is a joy. It's a joy. Yeah, I'll be a hood ornament, exactly. It's exciting. It's exciting to see this happening and seeing the baton. So this opportunity in the next month or so to hear the candidates and hear what you heard here in person. And if there's anyone else who wants to throw their hat in the ring between now and June 8th, they need to do that and reach out to Ruth Darrow and let them know. And if they don't, then our meeting in June 8th will be maybe a little bit shorter because if there's one person for each job, then there's vote by acclamation and then we move on to other stuff. So there we go. So at this point in the meeting, I'd like to talk about the birthday folks. Every month, you know that we do this now, where she's not here tonight. Our favorite cheerleader would normally lead us in a cheer, right? Mally Plowman, not here tonight. So we're gonna have to do this on our own and we're gonna have to raise our voices. And here's the people that we're celebrating: Rosemary McDowell, Diamond Staten Williams, her birthday is today, Veronica Moon Cook, Brenda Furr, who could not be here, Maxine Fairchild, Elsa May Gill, Laura Bagan, Robert Tanner, and Lillian Franklin, and me. I'm on the 23rd. Did we miss Mr. Hanson? David, you are on the list. It's not your fault. my reading is as bad as, my eyesight's as bad as my hearing. Wait, let me take my glasses off so I can hear better. Hold on. David Miller. So I can't start the singing because I'm singing to myself. One of you guys has to start the celebration by singing happy birthday. Who wants to take the lead? Go for it. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, everybody. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
It's weird, you know, when you get to a certain age, you say, how did that happen, right? 76 is like, I don't know, but it does. And there's only one way to have it stop, because I'm not ready for that yet. So celebrate every day. Keshia, I see you're back on the call. Are you able to share with us, as our only elected official in this meeting, are you able to share a little bit of an update on what's happening out there in the school board world? And if so, I'll put you on full screen.
Sure. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Hey, everybody. Happy birthday to all the folks out there who are celebrating a birthday this month. Also want to say congratulations to all the candidates who are running. Vince, I wish you the most luck at the state level.
Thank you.
I can share just a little bit about what I've got going on individually on the school board, and then just the school board as a whole, if that works for you.
Sure.
So I am on several committees, but two that have been really, really active. It's the Student Health Advisory Committee. And then I'm also on the Child Protection and Fatality Team, which meets at DSS. With the Student Health Advisory Committee, it's really important for me to be on this committee because of my tunnel vision focus on our children's mental health and substance use. There has been a rise in suicides among our teen population. So I've been really tunnel vision on just helping that committee, organize around what's happening in our schools, how that, comes in from our communities, and then putting things in place to make sure that we're supporting our kiddos as it relates to mental health and substance use. Child Protection and Fatality Team, we met a little earlier and discussed information a little earlier this past month because I inquired about the increase in suicides that we had in our county. I don't know how many people know this, but we had 3 teen suicides in our county, and that's likely never happened before. So we discussed some of the things that contributed to those suicides, and what we identified was there had been the likelihood that people were not, or people in the community were not locking or using safe storage of their guns. So that's what came out of there. The other thing that has been really, really important to me on the school board and just out in our community is breaking down the laws. I don't know if Martin is in there. I just want to highlight him for a second for sending out those monthly, not monthly, but daily, sometimes weekly updates about bills that are being introduced in the Senate and in the House, and just kind of breaking them down in the layman's terms. I have taken that on too, just in our community, just making sure people understand what bills are coming out, what they mean to like the general public, and how they can get involved, and just breaking it down to a level that anybody can understand. That's been really important for me. As it relates to the school board as a whole, we just recently hired Johnston, Allison, and Ford and Middlebrooks for a law firm. Our previous law firm's contract was up on May 9th. There was a bit of discussion around that. That's all I can really think of right now. We watched House Bill 219. There had been some changes to that bill where it really at this point does not affect the budget of public schools. So it hasn't passed quite yet, but we continue to watch that one. And there's a few other bills that we've been watching too. And we've had our legal representation present on at each meeting where they break down the bill and how it can affect possibly or likely affect the school system. There's this choose your school bill that's being introduced, and I don't have the number right now. And it pretty much would allow students to go to whatever school they want to go to. So that would, likely affect us in, significant capacity. So we've been watching that one. I can't think of anything else right now. If anything else comes up that's to mind, then, I'll speak on it. I do want to also highlight Jay, who's been coming to our school board meetings and kind of paying attention and breaking down what's been happening. I did forget two other things, personal things. I have joined the NAACP. I am their education committee chair, and then I am on the board of the Black Political Caucus here locally. So I don't know if that's enough information or too much information for everybody.
Yeah.
Hey, Keshia, one of the things I remember that came up was Sam's law of 773, parents' right to control what the kids see and use on the internet. You want to kind of share that a little bit?
Yeah, I think that was one of the bills I had asked him to summarize for us. And I don't know how many people watch the school board meetings, but I've just been really focused on understanding how the bills affect us, and then our legal counsel explaining to the public so that they have an understanding of how these bills will likely affect the district, either negatively or positively, so that we can make decisions based off of that. And then they can understand our role as a board in relation to those bills being passed. But thanks, Jay.
Thank you, Keshia. One of the things I'd like to get in our newsletter is a feature each month from elected officials. So I'll be calling on you to, just like we have a featured member of the month, I'm thinking in the next cycle that we actually start letting people know what you've done. There's two other Democrats on the school board. We have a city councilwoman. We have another elected official in Kannapolis and so forth. So a forum for you guys to share what's going on from the desk now that you're sitting at that desk, right? So I wanted to thank Jay for coming up and wearing the Senior Democrat shirt. A lot of you in the room have one. I have one that's actually hanging on the podium over here because it's the last one we have. I am ready to order, if I'm elected third vice chair, that's part of the communications, is to have advertising, right? So what better way to advertise than a shirt? And I encourage all of you, if you want a shirt, to let me know. Large, extra large, medium, or small, those are the sizes. They're like $10. We don't make any money. I think we get them for $9.95, and we sell them to you for $10 or something like that. But as we get into the warmer weather and we go to different outdoor events, and we go to the county fair in September, it's kind of nice to have that advertisement out there and let people know that, yes, in fact, there is a Senior Democrat organization out there, and there's a lot more of us than you might think. So I just encourage all of you to do that. And we'll have more next time around on how to get a shirt and how to wear that proudly. Diamond Staten Williams actually has one of our shirts, and I think she's wear it at every council in Raleigh, rather, at the state legislature. So we have one more open order of business, and that's every year, once a year, the state asks each chapter, each county, to nominate a person, a senior of the year, who's had the most impact for that year on that chapter. And I know there's a couple of people in here, there's a lot of people in here who would be dear and near to my heart for that honor. But I'd like to call if there's any nominations for someone. Maureen, you have someone in mind?
I'd like to nominate Ingrid Nurse.
I'll second that one.
Okay. Do you want to come up and talk a little bit about why you're nominating Ingrid?
Yes, and the gavel too. Anyway, I'd like to nominate Ingrid because I've just observed how hard she worked this year. She's tripled our membership. And one time I said, how do you do this, Ingrid? And she said, I call them, I ask them if they want to be a member. And then I go to their house to collect the $10 to make sure they're paid out. And so, and then I was thinking, anything we do in life that's done in love will endure. And I've seen the love in Ingrid, whether she's working hard for the Democrats or she's bringing food to the needy, she showed like the love comes through in everything that she does. And that's why I'd like to nominate her.
I'm proud of that one. Proud of Ingrid. Are there any other nominations from the floor? Well, hearing none, ask for a vote by acclamation that Ingrid Nurse-1st Senior of the Year that we can present to the state in June 24th.
Yes.
I move we accept her by acclamation.
So move. Congratulations, Ingrid. Would you want to come up and address the group, please?
I was saying this is surprising to me. I do excel. And what I gotta do too, now that I think about it, I handed out some Alma Adams calendars with a membership form in it. So it's about 12 more lurking out here. So I would be doing some calls again. Like you said, doing some calls again. I'm like, did you forget? I gave it to you 2 months ago. So that's what I'm working on also. So I thank everybody. And then like saying, each one, you have a friend that you need to know, that needs to know about what we're doing in the community, get involved.
Ingrid, quick question for you. When you get up to the houses, are you wearing a Dem shirt or are you wearing a Cabarrus County Democratic shirt? What are you?
Oh, I'm all over the place. But from the nurse family, 200 years of military, we serving. My shirt with John Lewis on it, good trouble. All right, like you said, I just show up, senior Dems, get on board. And I got some associate members also that want to come on board.
Okay.
Yeah, so I got like about 12 associates. I told them we need 100 and we got 62, right at. So I'm counting down. So they know I'm coming. They do know I'm coming. So I was like, they're like, help, here she comes. She's at the door. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, those associate members, affiliate members are so important. There's a lot of undecided voters or unaffiliated voters out there who think the way that Democrats think. They're not happy with all the stuff that's going on in the I don't want to say Republican, the MAGA party. I don't think the Republicans are even happy with what's happening in the MAGA party, but certainly the unaffiliated are going to have a voice, and they are always welcome to come to senior Democratic meetings. So get as many as you can. They cannot vote in our election, nor can they vote in the state election, but they can participate. They can guide us. They can serve on committees. They can help knock on doors and do all of the good stuff. So that needs to be done. I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. We always try to keep the meeting to as close as 8 o'clock as possible because they do have a hard stop here in the senior center.
I have a question.
Next month. Yes, Glenda, what's your question?
I wanted to ask Keshia a question about the students going to any school that they desire to go to. Have they talked about transportation? Will the school buses deliver them, or will their parents have to carry them and bring them back if they're not in their arena?
So I haven't heard a discussion about transportation, but I would assume if there is a bill to allow parents or families to choose what school they attend, then they would have to be provided with transportation, because as it currently stands, transportation is provided to people, to students to their respective school that they're zoned in. So if I had to guess, I would say that, transportation would be provided, but I hadn't heard a discussion about it, but I totally agree with your question and where you're getting to with it.
Yes,
Keisha,
Sounds like a transportation nightmare.
yes, and the cost factor involved.
Keisha, I'll double check tonight, but the last time I looked at it, bills, we have a North Carolina Senate, and North Carolina House. And if they didn't make it through one chamber and referred to the other chamber by the 4th, they're usually dead for the rest of the session until after the next election. And the last time I checked, that one did not make crossover. So I think that one may be dead, but I'll double check tonight, come out with an update.
I think that 793 that was public school open enrollment was dead, from what I heard.
Yeah, that the best of my knowledge is dead. Now, that doesn't mean there are a couple of tricks that can happen. We had a major election law that used to be originally a motorcycle helmet law. So they can take something that did make crossover, strip it out and substitute in new language, but that's fairly rare. So the best of my knowledge, I don't think that one is still on the table anymore.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, if there is no other order of business, I need a motion to adjourn our meeting.
So moved.
So moved and seconded by Susan. All in favor? Okay. What's that? Next meeting is going to be the second Thursday of the month of June, which if I remember right is the 8th, June 8th. June 8th will be not only our next meeting, it will also be our annual convention because we're supposed to have, this is stepping up, and that's where we'll have the election of slate of officers that will lead us into the future starting August, because in July we do not meet, right? If that's just standing every summer, we take off the month of July. But those officers who are elected in June will have the month of July to have a board meeting and formulate plans for the balance of the year, convene the committees that need to be convened, prepare for the state convention, which will be held on June 24th via Zoom. So just, keep your calendars open. Maureen, you had a question?
Yes, is there still time for us to throw their hat in the ring if they want to be an officer?
Yeah, you just don't want to be, do you?
No, I do. I just mean if somebody else is thinking.
Yes, I looked at the bylaws and there is nothing that stops someone. If there's somebody else out there who wants to be third vice chair and do this job, have at it. Yes, so the answer is yes, because our bylaws do not have a time limit. The state bylaws do. So if you're not already on the slate at the state level, chances are you're not going to be able to participate. But at our county level, we have no such restriction, and until we get a bylaw committee together and they write that in, we have what we have. So. Did we call for an adjournment? And did everyone say yes?
Yes.
Everyone said yes. Thanks, everyone. Have a great evening. It's a beautiful night. It's still daylight. Enjoy. Grab a snack on the way out, and we'll see you next month. Thank you, everyone, for being on the call.
Happy
Thank you
Mother's
out there
Day
in
to
Zoom land.
everybody.
Oh, yeah. Happy
Yes,
Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day
Thank you.
ahead of
Bye-bye
time.
now.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.